So we've made it to the last day of Niagara Summit 2024, and it's even after lunch. You grab these two folks away from the lunch table, and I am here with Brian Frank, SkyFoundry technology leader, SkyFoundry and CEO, and technology leader of Project Haystack, and Richard McElhinney, executive director at Project Haystack, and Conserve IT,
Vice President of Technology.
Vice President of Technology. So really, top of the technology.
Making your
top of the technology pyramid here in the Niagara community.
Sure.
It's been quite a show. And we still have a little way to go. We're going to have a session in about 45 minutes on tagging and ontology.
Yes, we are.
And I thought that would be the most important topic to talk about here is what's here. Your channel is, as both were there at the founding of Project Haystack, why it started and where it's going right now.
You start off.
So I'd say, what we're saying, or what we have been saying over the course of decades, even when we started Tridium, is modeling is the core of everything, right? And I think what Tridium was super successful with originally was we took all these disparate devices and we said, let's model them consistently.
Absolutely.
So Tridium was super successful with that. And that was the beginning of modeling. But what we're seeing is that model wasn't sophisticated enough for the applications people wanted to do in terms of analytics and visualization. So that's sort of how Project Haystack came into being, which is we needed more sophisticated models of what was physically installed in the buildings. And that model, people just have expectations for more and more sophisticated models. And that's really what this journey is all about.
Yeah, and I think one of the things to remember as well is what Tridium did in the early days by modeling the devices and protocols. They were aiming to do that at scale. So we're not talking about one building and one device. What we're talking about is doing this across millions of buildings and hundreds of millions of square feet of real estate, okay? And with Project Haystack and the modeling and everything that has been developed over the last 10 years, it is about organizing data at scale. And that's one of the missions that Project Haystack has is how do we solve this problem of sophisticated applications, but across all these buildings and all these data points, and how do we organize that? How do we solve that problem? And through Brian's leadership on a technical side of Project Haystack, you've mostly the sport Tridium and technology leaders. That's what we're seeing now. We're seeing that evolution of modeling at scale, now delivering applications, and we've got some fantastic applications here based on Niagara, integrating with Niagara here at the show right now.
And use cases too, I think we might be missing it right now, or it's going to happen simultaneous to our tagging panel. Is University of California, Irvine is here with Jim Meacham of Altura, Jeff Fleshman of ACI, and really those campuses are like smart cities in and of themselves, that they have facilities for renewable energy, cogeneration with
I think university campuses are a perfect illustration of that scale.
Right.
They got hundreds of buildings spread out across a geographically wide area, maybe in different cities in some cases, and they got all these systems, renewable energy, HVAC and lighting and metering, and how do you organize?
Integrating all these renewable stuff. And then people want different data. They love this investigation of the model. They want different data for decarbonization, electrification, and these campuses where SkyFoundry already is are really tip of the spear, showing us how it can be done. And I think it's the kind of place that's probably most has been tagging for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows you how the data is flowing from edge devices up through Niagara, where it's starting to get modeled more sophisticated, and then coming into applications like SkySpark, where we need to consume model data, right?
Right.
So, it's a natural evolution.
It is, and there are now new stakeholders as well. So I think what we're seeing is that the stakeholders are quite well defined. You have the operational folks who they need to keep the building running, so they're interested in operational data. So they want to be able to query the models and find out about it. You've got the sustainability folks who are now all separate departments. Once upon a time, they were all lumped in together. The operational and sustainability folks are now two separate groups of people. And then you have the IT people involved. There's the processing power you need to really derive value out of these models now requires the power of IT. So the stakeholders are involved in working these the modeling technologies that we have at Project Haystack and with support of Niagara, was pulling in a whole bunch of new people into our industry, and the conversations are now starting to change. So you still have those operational conversations, but now it's, well, what else do we have to talk about? What else are we talking about?
Right. Well, I think you're seeing that all these different groups now are understanding the value from the building automation system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more than just simple operations. That's temperature control.
Yeah.
Right. It's much broader, especially when we start talking about decarbonization and greenhouse gas reporting.
Reporting is another good one. Meeting your compliance and governance obligations as well. You need a lot of data, right? So you have to be able to work with data that's more for instance.
Kind of like here, it's a user group meeting. Every software platform is a user group meeting, and so the idea of community in this ballroom right now is obvious. You had to start an open source community when you started Project Haystack, and keep people contributing, gaining value from it.
And it's never ending work because modeling these systems, right? It's you're always getting into greater and greater detail. Like one of the big things and so we started Project Haystack. It was like, okay, let's model the equipment systems and the points. But now we're saying, well, people want nameplate data and what was the design and the rated information and all that stuff. So the model is continually getting more sophisticated, and all of these domain experts are helping us to define those ontologies, which feeds into more and more sophisticated applications.
Right.
I think that the idea of having this as an open source ecosystem is actually critically important, because I know Red Hat are here and talking about they've got
a Linux. They have the Linux.
Yeah, they've got a Linux thing going on, and I think that's the perfect kind of the analogy that says, look what they did. They are able to gain adoption for their products by leveraging open source. It's the same with us. Brian and maybe we could have teamed up one day and invented Haystack and tried to monetize that. But by if it was a closed ecosystem, it would not have gained the adoption. And so I think having that as an open source project is critical, and that needs to be recognized as a really important decision that is taken up front with what we do in the modeling world, is to involve everyone, have it be open, have contributors, because one person can't do it all, but two people, we can't do it all.
Yeah.
It's one thing to invent the technology and invent what the tagging is, but as Brian said, having the domain experts contribute, having the chiller guys contribute, the electrical metering guys contribute. We have some amazing people that contribute on electrical metering to a level I had no idea existed. And they've gone really, really deeply into electrical metering as one specific domain. Having all those contributors has spurred adoption. It's helped us gain recognition in the marketplace as a leader in this space. So that's something we need to recognize.
Yeah, and like Tridium, I think from the start with Project Haystack, it had global. It wasn't just some America thing. We're getting the tags and thinking it was BTIF.
No. Well, just up here, Brian's East Coast America and I'm Melbourne, Australia, so it doesn't get as global as that, does it?
Two sides of the world.
That's just that.
Already two sides of the world. Yeah.
But it's very heavily used in both Europe and things, whatever, Pacific. So, and what you see is the systems tend to be different, right? VAB systems are very common in the US, but different sort of systems you see in Europe. Like Australia is all about cooling.
Yeah, we're all about cooling, and a lot of heading in Australia, so that. But and definitely having those different types of systems and having those domain experts contribute has, again, helped that adoption. It helps Tridium, helps Niagara, because all of that modeling is now coming into Niagara. That's right.
I'll give you a great example. I would say the VRF working group that was working on modeling VRF systems was pretty much almost exclusively out of Asia. I was doing all the calls in India and nice.
Yeah, I definitely know.
Well,
so it's a global community for sure.
It's a global community, and they're taking it in different directions. So there are people, I think, the discussion yesterday we had about advanced controllers and MQTT. That you kind of understand where they're going with request.
And
They're tagging. And your point about Haystack, like sometimes I feel like Haystack doesn't get enough credit because, of course, there's other ontologies. And there's this converging of ontologies. So that's a point we can maybe discuss. And one other point is that we're having so many AI sessions. They were falling out of the room in the AI session yesterday. But prior to this, I was we had the question, what about tagging, and are just AI bots going to be able to figure this out? And I Googled it and looked at the research papers, seen a lot of research papers coming out of China.
Yep.
It's like, well, you got to start with Haystack. I'm like, okay, if this 2023 research paper out of China says you have to start with Haystack.
Yeah. Well, the two go hand in hand. I mean, I think the better the model, the better the AI tools can work with. When it comes to how do I build the model, the AI tools can help with that. And I'd say even in the community for a decade, people have been using what used to be called AI was
Machine learning.
Machine learning, right? Those techniques were used to help build the Haystack models of naming conventions and patterns of the data. And now those tools will get more sophisticated. But in the end, good AI applications will be better if there's a solid model behind you.
And also having that formal ontology as well to back all of that up, I think, it really helps. Will really help define those tools and those applications and how they're going to work. That's the work that Project Haystack's been doing now, and Haystack 4, that's where we're at. Fully defined ontology. It can be implemented right in Niagara. It can be implemented in SkySpark. The other applications that are out there. And so, we've really been trying to push that field, with the work we're doing at Project Haystack.
And the ontology, a solid ontology can help sort of check what the AI is telling, right? It's sort of a backstop to make sure that what answers you're getting are not nonsensical.
Well, I think adoption of Haystack, again, I'm reading about it from China. It's spread, so I guess we all have to keep up the good work with that. And keep the topic front of mind. There was UCI speaking. There was also University of Kentucky, and I know Caltech is here. Everybody is doing tagging, but at different levels. I think they want to keep. It's such an important topic. We have to keep the entire user base.
Well, I think the idea of continually educating the industry is super important, and with Haystack has a role in that as well as other people for sure. I think education is something that we just need to keep on working at and delivering. To helping people understand why it's important, what it is, how you do it, how you're going to evolve. Sometimes it can seem like a really high barrier to entry, but it's actually not, because it's built into the tools and the products that are here today, the show, it's an AI into so bringing people along for the ride and helping them out is super important.
And everyone's on a different part of their journey based on the sophistication in their applications, right? Some applications require it, so it's got to get done, right? I think what you're going to see as the tools get more powerful and easier to apply these models, right? When you're building a building automation system with Niagara, for example, that they'll be available, right? And so it pays dividends down the road once you have that model. It's very difficult to go back and figure out what the data means. It's much easier to do it while the system's going in. That's where we want it to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to tag as you go. You want to tag.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the most important messages for people to take away is do it right, do it the first time, and then leverage that model to deliver value for your customer. If you're a system integrator, that's your opportunity to build a business, to differentiate yourself. But you've got to get the model in there in the first place.
I can't tell you how many stories I hear of people trying to go back to find the original control engineer to find out what BACnet AI 15 actually was measuring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do it up front.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think we have we all have visions. I know there was a lot of technologies in your titles, both of you, but I also kind of consider you Renaissance men, people that can do other things, like you've got that vision and you're looking out. And when I think about like a building in Florence, the Dome, it was the architect Cortulucci or something that figured out you need the framework. You can't just go to the middle of the dome and start laying bricks. You've got to build it little by little, pull everything up with you have the scaffolding. And we can all have visions and sit in the basement by ourselves and try to build it, but you really need everybody working together and knowing that it's kind of like a little bit of scaffolding, little bit of advancement.
And I know that's a conversation in our part of the world, a conversation I try and have is it's not just about system integration. Yeah, sure, they have a role to play, but the engineers and consultants specifying and designing systems, they need to understand what their role is. The commissioning agents need to understand what their role is. Even the building owners, I believe, they need to have some role in this ecosystem. They need to understand what they want and how do they get that and where does tagging come into that. And all these players that are delivering these systems, it's not just, we shouldn't maybe put a burden on just system integrators. I think that's probably a little bit unfair because there are a lot of people who have a role to play in the delivery of these models in these systems using Haystack and Niagara and all the other things.
And with my Dome in Florence example, I was just trying to say the people that we should just tomorrow stop doing everything we're doing before and just I can think of a better way to do it. Let's just go with this protocol, and it's mine, and it's new, and everybody should just do that. You're not bringing anybody along with you.
No, you're not. Absolutely not. No,
and the thing is, there is a technology component to this. Yeah, this is largely like a people organization, community to make it make sense. And if you look at what the working groups are doing, it's really a bunch of domain experts coming together to agree. This is the way we're going to model something, and we're just going to all do it this way. That's it.
Come in.
It is. Yeah.
So it's really a people problem. So.
Well, everybody's busy. We got to do the 1 o'clock session.
Shoot, don't we?
And I see other podcasters in line.
Okay.
So I want to say thank you to Brian and Richard.
Thank you, Therese.
And another great summit.